What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Above the Law. So this was a first time watch for me, and this was the first Steven Seagal movie I've ever seen, period. I've wanted to check out his stuff for the longest time because, he's pretty famous. He's in quite a few movies. And to be 100% honest, what initially piqued my interest was not just knowing about him. It was the fact that I would always watch this, I would listen to this podcast called Come Town, and they had this one episode where they were talking about like the new Steven Seagal movies, and they were talking about like how his new movies are really bad, and there's a lot of like so bad it's good stuff in the movies. And I was like a big fan of that podcast. Like it's not out, like they don't put out new episodes anymore. Like all the comedians on it kind of like went their separate ways. They're doing their own thing. But I would listen to that podcast on repeat, and basically one of the best episodes was the one where they talked about Steven Seagal and they were just kind of clowning him. So I've always been like, damn, I gotta check out his movies. So of course I've known about him. He was like a pretty big star, but the main thing that got me interested in checking out his movies was that Come Town podcast, specifically the episode where they're talking about Steven Seagal. So and I was at Walmart the other day, and I was like, I was rummaging through the $5 movie bin, which shouts out to the $5 movie bin. It's phenomenal. I mean, it's magical. It never disappoints. I'm glad that they still have it. 2K25, $5 movie bin, still going strong. So yeah, I was at Walmart and I picked up this little like 4-pack DVD of Steven Seagal movies, and I'm always like a sucker for these 2-packs or 3-packs or 4-packs, whatever, where you get couple like four movies for $5 is not a bad deal. So yeah, Above the Law was on this. That it was Steven Seagal's first movie, so I decided to start with that one. And yeah, I thought it was pretty darn good. So yeah, it was legit. So in terms of plot summary, it just surrounds around Nico, played by Steven Seagal, and he's this ex-special forces guy who's now a cop, and he kind of uncovers this conspiracy, but he's told to stand down, and he wants to do what's right, so he doesn't stand down. He kind of goes rogue in order to investigate the conspiracy and stop the conspirators. So that is the basic plot summary. And in terms of stuff that I liked, there were quite a few standout scenes. The action in this was absolutely on point. So, part of Steven Seagal's character, Nico, part of his character was that he was like an Aikido specialist, which is ties into Steven Seagal's real life background. He is an Aikido specialist, and all the martial arts stuff was phenomenal. Like all the fight scenes were great. Like talking about a standout fight scene, Nico goes into a bar and he's like trying to find this girl, and he's just immediately like roughing fools up. All these dudes are just like talking shit, they're being a-holes, and he's just laying fools out. Like he I feel like it was like 5 guys that he just ran through them like it was nothing. And then he goes upstairs, he finds the girl he's looking for, and she's with this, like drug addict guy, and they got like cocaine on the table. He smashes the guy's head in the cocaine. I think he says like, "Want to get high" or something before, hits him with the one-liner, smashes his head into the cocaine. And then later on in the movie, he sees that same guy, and the guy's like all bruised up, and he's just like flinching whenever Nico gets near him. So yeah, I really like that whole bar fight scene. There's like a sequence later on where there's this big shootout, and then Nico jumps on top of this one antagonist's car, and they're going pretty fast, but he's just like holding on for dear life like it's nothing. He's just like straight face, like it's just another day, like it's just a walk in the park. Like, oh yeah, they're going probably 40 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour, smashing into stuff, but I'm just gonna hang on the top of this car like it's nothing. And he's like choking the guy, like he smashes the window, which, I mean, that's pretty unrealistic, but it's cool. So like he smashes the window and he's choking the guy while he's on top of the car and they're like swerving and stuff. That was great. Later on, like in the third act, there's this whole action-packed sequence in this parking garage, and Nico has this guy like on like the hood of his car, and he like smashes through the side of the building, and the guy just drops. It's like a 10-story building or something, and the guy just like drops. You see him like slow-mo falling out of the building. That was great. So yeah, I really loved a lot of the action sequences, and I also liked Steven Seagal's performance. I liked Nico himself because he was like chill and soft spoken, and he was just like calm and collected all the time. Like, in a lot of action movies, you'll have like an over the top protagonist, or sometimes you have one of these, strong silent types. I feel like Nico was more the strong silent type, where it's like he definitely like let his actions speak. Like he wouldn't really talk that much. He was pretty soft spoken, but he would have some like fun lines here and there. I remember like sometimes he'd be joking with his partner, who was played by Pam Grier, and like earlier on in the movie they go in this club and he's like, "We gon' party" or whatever. So yeah, he had some fun lines here and there, but he played it like pretty straight, and I thought his performance was good. And like I said, the martial arts, like all of his martial arts stuff was phenomenal. Like he was just laying fools out. I was like, God damn, like he was just wrecking fools. I was like, goodness gracious. And then one random thing that I want to talk about is like, I feel like, okay, so there's this one instance where there's like a chase on foot, like Nico's chasing someone on foot, and I just kept thinking when I was watching that, like I felt like Steven Seagal had like a really gumpy run. Like his, I don't know, like the way he moved his arms when he would run, it just looked goofy. Like, I don't know if anyone else who watched the movie thought that, but I'm like, damn, like he looks so cool when he's like fighting or shooting fools, but then this guy starts running and he looks like a goofball. So I don't know. I just thought he had a really gumpy run, but yeah, that was just like the last little random point that I wanted to talk about. So yeah, in terms of a recommendation, I would recommend this. I think this is like late '80s. It came out in '88, but yeah, I like for in terms of like '80s action, I think it's a solid '80s action movie. I love like all the '80s action, and this is like I'm glad I saw this because this is like right up my alley. I think it's like a solid movie overall. So yeah, if you haven't seen this and you're a fan of action, if you're a fan of '80s action, if you like, you know, martial arts, I think this is a dope movie to check out. And yeah, like I said, I would recommend. So that has been my review of Above the Law. Thank you all very much for watching, and peace out.